Well, hello and welcome back to Vesca's Realm. Today we are making this beautiful transition effect in Blender using geometry nodes. This is going to be a complete follow along tutorial. If you have basics of Blender clear and U nodes as well, you are good to go. So to break this down, we are going to take a model of the car, make a fake mesh around it, distribute some points over this mesh, followed by instancing some UV spheres on these points, and finally a proximity effect to scale them down and change the color of the car. I hope you're excited. Let's go. Okay, so first thing first, I want you to download this model of the car, link in description. Download the specific GLTF file and import it in Blender GLTF 2.0, and there it is. So this model is a bit messed up. Let me just change my viewport shading to single. Like it has two layers of the same material. X delete, select somewhere here, X delete. Now you have a clean mesh. Select this part, this part, this part, and this part, all of the outer body, and Control J to join. Let's come back to our random viewport shading. Now this part is a single part. Now we can start by adding a single cube and make a fake mesh around it. This part is up to you. I will speed up my video from here so you can see how it happens. Otherwise, you can download this mesh from the link in description. So here it is. I know it looks funny, but you do not have to be too critical about it. It is alright. Now, a couple of you might be thinking that why we did not use the mesh we already had. Now, hear me out. This mesh is going to create problems while distributing some points, like it has some surface on the inside, some crevices like here. So it's better to have a outer mode like this. This will create no problem and we will have a fluid system. Now let's jump into geometry nodes. I will press new here and add in a distribute points on faces. You can pump in the density, but I like to choose here points in this. So this basically what it does is it does not lead to any overlapping points if you just increase the distance like this. Let's keep it till there for now and let's see how it goes. Next thing, add in an instance on points. Add in a UV sphere, plug it in, let's see, and also apply scale. If you have some weird proportions going on, I will decrease the radius here. Let's keep it there. Now I'm gonna add in a random value node to have some randomized scale. Let's plug this in here. Let's keep both at 1 right now. Let's increase the till there, increase one of these min or max till there, and I think that's it. You can also tweak the distance so you have a better outlook. I think this works. All right, let's move ahead. Let's give it some motion. So the basic idea is that I want these points to move along the normals of this mesh. Let's hide this geometry nodes effect right now. I will press tab, go into my edit mode, and you will see each face has normals going on the outwards. All right, so let's use this data to drive these points. All right, so to get the data of the normal from the mesh, there is a node called capture attribute. Let's place it here. Let's use face here. We want the data of the face. What data? We want the normal data. Normal, plug this in here. Now I will use the set position node, place it here, and plug this data on the offset. Offset is basically telling these points, let's switch on this, telling these points where they should land. They should land across the normals right there. All right, I will also add in a vector math node. Let's plug this in between. I will choose multiply here. Now anything multiplied by 0 is nil, so they are in their original position, and as you increase they move farther away. That is what we want. Now I basically want this data to be controlled by an external object. Let's spawn in a sphere somewhere. Let's scale it down, and I will going to view for display bounds, and let's make it a sphere like this so we can see across. Next, I will spawn in proximity node here, and I will also get the sphere inside of the node tree. Select relative, plug this in. I will spawn in a math node. Select divide distance by the scale of this object. All right. So basically, this three node setup gives us the value of this object's location and scale. And now if you plug this value here, you can control the normals with this object scale and location. All right, now let's tweak this a bit. I will get in a color ramp here, color ramp, and let's get these values closer like this. All right, I think that looks fine. This is up to you. Further, I am going to tweak it by adding a float curve. Float curve basically has the value from 0 to 1. To understand it here, all the points which are sitting down, those are 0. All the points which are up, those are 1. So what if I tell float curve to raise the bar here, make the points go up, and then bring them back to their original state like this. Let's increase the scale of it. In scale, you will see the points are going up and coming down as well. You can play with this curve as much as you want. Let's make this design. Let's see what it does. Nice and easy, something like that. Now further, let's add in a scale instances node right at the back. Now I want this object to also influence the scale, and this object's data is right here. Let's plug this right in and see what happens. So they are appearing on the car like this, but I want them to appear and disappear next. For that, I will use a float curve. Now understand one more time. 0 means they are zero transparency, they are not visible. As you increase, the value comes to 1. They are visible right there. Let's pump this up and take this down. Invisible, visible, and invisible again. Let's see. So not exactly what we want because they are using the same data. Let's use a different color ramp for this. Let's plug this in here. Let's decrease, play with it a bit. Let's increase this or maybe decrease this. Let's see, now it's fine. I think now it is fine. They are appearing and disappearing. Before we jump into color, let's address one more thing. Like, what if you want these points to go even farther than this? For that, I will use a map node and plug it right in the end. Use multiply, and as you increase this multiplier, the points will go farther away. Let's also try to decrease it, and increase this a bit. Let's see, I think this looks fine. And now let's come to the shading part now. I will go into my render view. I have switched on my lighting here. Alright, so you don't get confused. And now I am going to use this mesh only. Let's add in new here, new geometry nodes. I will add in a stored named attribute. Plug it in here. I want the data of the vector point. Let's name it anything. I will name it COL for color, and I want the data to be driven by the proximity, like the same as this sphere. All right, so let's get back. Let's drag this sphere in here, choose relative, and same the three node setup. I will plug it in here, divide proximity, relative, distance by scale. I will use a color ramp, plug this in here. Let's get these values a bit closer and plug this data right there. All right, now get in to the shader editor. All right, we do not need this. This is paint 002. This material is paint 002. All right, now let's give this material, set material, paint 002. All right, now if you change the color, this will take an effect. Now I want to use this data in here. I will use attribute and I will name it COL, same as that. Now, if I plug this right here, I will get something like this. So nothing happened. I mean, I was also confused, but the difference is that the C is capital here and everything counts. All right. So COL, C capital COL. Now something is happening. Just tweak it, just scale it down. Let's see. Let's increase this. I want a different color somewhere there. All right. So let's select this again. Let's bump the black up till there. All right. Now if we scale it down, the black is here and the bubbles are forming up and they are changing the color. That is what we want. And now we will simply use this as a mask between two colors. I will use mixed color and use this as a mask between, let's see, blue or maybe orange. This material part is completely up to you. Let's drag it a bit back. I think that looks fine. All right, now let's give metallic shader roughness a bit low. The color scheme is very funny right now. Let's go to our lighter tones. All right, now finally let's also shade the spheres. I will get in cube. Let's place it anywhere. Let's give it a material D08, remember it. And where are our sphere? This is it, set material 008. This is it. And let's, how I like to do is this way, but you are free to do it anyhow. Layer weight facing, let's use a color ramp. Let's decrease it, and also important thing, set shade smooth. Set shade smooth. Let's plug it right at the end. All right, now that's fine. Let's tweak this material. I will use this as a mask between mixed color, between, let's see, blue and dark blue. Let's plug this here, and I will also reduce the alpha to make them look like bubbles, something like this. Now if you want to be a bit more advanced with it, I would suggest you get in another vector math, multiply only, place it here and use a noise texture in between, place it right there, and I will use a color ramp. Let's get them there. Let's first use the multiply node to get them farther away. Let's also get them a bit closer, something like this, and I will use a scene time node here. Make this to 40. Let's plug in seconds to W. All right, now if you run the timeline, you will see they are bouncing. Let's get them to be a bit slower. I will divide it by 10. Yep, I think 10 works. Now if you decrease it, this effect will be alive like this. All right, so this effect can be used in many ways. Like I have used it to change the color of the pot, something like this. So I would like you to experiment with any object as possible and tag me on Instagram and let me see what you can come up with. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. See you next time.